using magic to clean up commercial organics. So we have a magic presentation here. Teresa Montgomery has over 20 years of experience in the solid waste and recycling field. Currently, she's the sustainability manager for the South San Francisco Scavenger company. And during the summer of 2017, her company added a Scot turbo separator to their transfer station, and she will discuss how this equipment has improved their anaerobic digester. Take it away, Teresa.
All right, good morning. Oh, okay, got it. Hello. Super excited to be here, and I brought my unicorn in a trash can, because that's what I'm talking about, how you can pull a unicorn out of the trash can. So, here's my control, right? The blue dot. So I'm going to jump right in. Our organics program for residential and for commercial is for the same materials. It's pretty standard. Everybody has the same programs now for the most part. We're looking for food scraps, food soiled paper, wax-coated cardboard, and yard trimmings. The picture on the far left there in the corner is from one of our customers who is doing an absolutely perfect job. You can tell that there's a little bit of fiber in there. It's wax-coated cardboard, and the rest is literally like a salad bar. This is a food prep company around the corner from our office. That's what we want, especially from commercial customers. We get really excited when we get material like that. We get less excited when it's all fiber or all big chunky yard waste. We love the food. And why do we love the food? Because we're putting all the material through an anaerobic digestion system. So the more food, the better quality the finished compost is, or our digestate is, where did Tim go? I saw him a minute ago. He's finishing it up in Napa. They're using the finished product on the, I think on vineyards. Tim, where'd you go? Anyway. Okay. So, so when we digest the material, about half the volume goes away when the bacteria do its work and then create gas. So we're using the digestion process to fuel our trucks as well as to make this pre-compost that Tim then works his magic on. And why do we do this? Everyone already knows, right? We're trying to comply with a variety of state laws. We're trying to help our businesses to comply with AB 1826. We're trying to do the right thing. We want to keep all of this organic material out of the landfill. We don't want to be contributing to greenhouse gas emissions. So now that we've talked about what we want and why, let's talk about what we get. Okay, so this is where kind of the unicorn comes. The picture on the right is pretty indicative of most of our organics loads. You can stand out in Blue Line Transfer and look at this pile, and you'll see mostly food, a decent amount of plastic, and a decent amount of fiber. The picture on the left, we also get a lot of. That's probably coming from an office building, so it's from break rooms and whatnot. You can see there's the dreaded Keurig cup in there. There's plastic utensils, lots of coffee cups, at least wooden stir sticks, not plastic. That's at least better. And everything is bagged, right? So we get both of these. Plus, we handpick some trash loads. We go and do our route audits, and we know customers who throw away a lot of organics. And for one reason or another, they won't participate actively in an organics program, but we want to process their trash anyway because we know there's recoverable material. So we get stuff that looks like this and worse, and we have to work magic on it in order to make it worthy of going through our anaerobic digestion facility. So what's our magic? How do we transform it? We use the Scot turbo separator. So when you have time in your spare time, if you want to know about this, just Google Scot equipment, and you can find YouTube videos galore that talk about how this machine works. But basically, it uses paddles and screens to separate material. On their website, they describe it as taking a bat to a bag of frozen peas. Smack the hell out of the bag, the peas separate from the bag, and they go in different directions. Okay, so the salsa is the peas. We've been calling it salsa. Some people would call it a mash. It's got a real funky consistency to it. It's a chunky mud, if you will. We take that material and we mix it in the receiving bay for anaerobic digestion with residential material, which is so clean it doesn't really need to be pre-processed. And then on the far left, that photo is the residual pile. So the residual from the Scot is going to look like, it's going to depend on what the load looked like. If you put only clean food through the Scot, you're not going to have anything in the residual pile. But if you put stuff through that was 60% trash, you're going to have a huge residual pile. Ours typically looks like this. It's mostly plastics. Big shocker, right? It's bioplastics. It's standard plastics. Since we serve a wholesale produce market and we serve a lot of biotech, we get things like rubber gloves. You'll see purple gloves in there, clear gloves. You'll see sheet wrap. You'll see mostly that kind of stuff. We're pretty careful what we feed it because also the Scot will get temperamental if you put in like metal. And we don't want to put glass in it because Tim doesn't want Hollywood compost, glittery compost. We don't want that. So, and then we've tested the salsa, and we know that finished product there has less than 1% contamination, less than 1% non-organic material. So the Scot is very good at separating out the food from the trash. The residual also, I should mention, depending on what it looks like, can go on. It can be landfilled if you want, but if there's a lot of food still stuck to the plastic that's in there, which is possible, you may want to digest it. We wouldn't at our place, but there are other digestion facilities that might take it. You could send it for waste to energy. You could maybe figure out a way to wash it and save material. Anyway, it has a lot of options. So in summary, for 2018, which was the first full year that we operated the Scot, we processed 10,482 tons of material through our AD facility, and just under half of that was pre-processed by the Scot. It really helped us. Prior to the Scot, we mined our organics pile with human hands. We had 2 people whose full-time job it was to go through and break the bags and remove contamination, and it was so inefficient that the Scot really helped us to maximize what we could get out of our waste stream. And then, it looks a little blurry. Anyway, that's pretty much it. If there's any questions, I have a little bit more information. We try to use humor all the time to promote this program, but really, I'm not going to kid. The best thing for getting people on board with our organics program has been 1826. Unfortunately, it's been that kind of force that's gotten people to get on board because organic service is not free. Most of you know it costs more, you can imagine, to put material through a Scot, to then digest it for 3 weeks, and then haul it off and have it turned into a finished compost is a lot more involved than putting it in a truck and sending it to the nearest landfill. Anyone?
If you have questions, just keep your hand raised and the microphones will come to you. See one there?
Let's see. Here's the mic. In the Scot.
She asked if I know the cost per ton for that additional processing. I don't know that offhand. Is Doug here? I don't think he's here yet, or I don't see him. $20 a ton? Hey, thanks, Doug. Okay. The paper and wax cardboard, any of the fibers, unless they've already broken down considerably, are going to end up in the residual pile. Doug? Come on, help me out, Dougie. He's wondering how the initial cost. there's been a little bit of push-pull on the program for us. As an outreach person, I push that all of these organics materials are acceptable. However, if somebody puts like a tree trunk in their bin, it's a problem. Like Doug said, we had somebody who put auto parts in. So, before you feed the Scot, you really have to look at what's in there. It's super important.